Have you ever wondered about the mysteries that history has left unsolved, like the perplexing disappearance of the Roanoke colony? In the annals of history, few tales are as intriguing and mystifying as the enigma of the Roanoke colony, an English settlement that seemingly vanished without a trace in the late 16th century. Our story begins in 1585, when the English, under the leadership of Sir Walter Raleigh, set their sights on the New World. In an attempt to establish a foothold in North America, a group of explorers was dispatched to the eastern coast, where they established the Roanoke colony. Life in the New World was difficult, to say the least. The settlers grappled with unfamiliar terrain, inclement weather, and strained relations with the native tribes. Despite these hardships, the settlers persevered, carving out a life in the wilderness. However, the colony was soon abandoned, the reasons for which remain a subject of debate among historians. In 1587, a second attempt was made to re-establish the Roanoke colony. This time, the settlers included women and children, indicating a long-term intent to settle the area. They set about rebuilding and expanding the colony, hopeful for a prosperous future. But as we know now, their hopes would soon be dashed in the most inexplicable way. When a supply ship returned to the colony in 1590, they found it deserted. The settlers had vanished, leaving behind only the cryptic message CROATOAN carved into a wooden post. The fate of the Roanoke settlers remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. So, what exactly happened to the Roanoke colony? Let's delve into the annals of history to find out. The tale of the Roanoke colony begins in 1585, when the English first established their presence on the island. A group of about 100 men, led by Sir Richard Grenville, ventured across the Atlantic, drawn by dreams of a better life and the promise of vast unclaimed lands. This was not a journey for the faint-hearted. The settlers were challenged by a harsh voyage, unpredictable weather, and the unfamiliar terrain of the New World. Upon arrival, the settlers began to carve out an existence on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. Their survival depended on their ability to adapt to this strange environment and to establish relations with the native tribes. Initially, the English and the natives traded goods and knowledge, a symbiotic relationship that was beneficial to both parties. However, as time passed, the settlers' demands grew. They began to encroach on the natives' lands, igniting tensions that would spark into conflicts. The settlers found themselves in a precarious position, caught between their ambitions and the realities of their situation. In the face of mounting difficulties, the settlers' resolve wavered. The once promising Roanoke colony was proving to be a formidable challenge. Food supplies dwindled, morale plummeted, and the dream of a prosperous new world seemed to be slipping away. Finally, in 1586, just a year after their arrival, the settlers decided to abandon the Roanoke colony. Sir Francis Drake, a privateer returning from a successful raiding expedition in the Caribbean, offered them passage back to England. The settlers, disillusioned and desperate, agreed. They left behind an empty settlement, a ghostly reminder of their failed ambitions. Despite the initial setback, the English were not ready to give up on the Roanoke colony yet. Their dreams of a new world were too potent, their ambitions too grand. The tale of the Roanoke colony was far from over. It was merely the beginning of a much larger, far more mysterious story. In 1587, the English decided to give Roanoke another shot, leading to the infamous Lost Colony. In the face of previous failures, the English, under the guidance of Sir Walter Raleigh, embarked on another venture to establish a colony on Roanoke Island. This time, they appointed a new leader, Governor John White, a man known for his artistic talents and his passion for the New World. White was tasked with the daunting challenge of re-establishing a successful settlement at Roanoke. With a group of 115 eager settlers, including women and children, they set sail, filled with hopes and dreams of a prosperous new life. Among these brave souls was White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, who would soon etch her name into the annals of history. Upon their arrival, they set about fortifying their new home, building houses and planting crops. The harsh reality of life in the New World was made a little brighter when Eleanor Dare gave birth to a daughter, christened Virginia Dare, the first English child born on American soil. This moment of joy, however, was short-lived, as the colony soon found itself in dire straits, facing dwindling supplies and a cold winter. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Governor White made the difficult decision to return to England for supplies. He left his beloved daughter and granddaughter behind, promising to return as swiftly as possible. But fate, as they say, had other plans. Back in England, White found himself caught in the throes of the Anglo-Spanish War. His return to Roanoke was continually delayed as ships were requisitioned for the war effort, and crossing the Atlantic became a dangerous proposition. Little did White know that it would be 3 long years before he could return to Roanoke. Upon White's return in 1590, he found Roanoke as he had left behind. Imagine the chilling dread that must have gripped him as he roamed the desolate landscape, calling out names that echoed unanswered. That had once thrived with life and promise was now a ghost town, the buildings empty and the fields untended. The only trace of the settlers, CROATOAN. This wasn't a distress signal or a call for help. It was a single word that would become synonymous with one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. The word CROATOAN was not entirely unfamiliar to White. It was the name of a nearby island, known to be inhabited by a friendly tribe. So was this a message indicating where the settlers had moved? Or was it a desperate plea carved out in the face of an attack? The possibilities were endless, the answers non-existent. In the years that followed, numerous attempts were made to locate the lost settlers. Expeditions were launched and investigations carried out. Maps were meticulously studied and native tribes questioned. Yet, every path led to a dead end. Every clue fizzled out into nothingness. The settlers of Roanoke had vanished as if they had never existed, leaving behind a haunting enigma. Theories sprouted like wildflowers, each more fascinating than the last. Had they been wiped out by disease or starvation? Had they integrated with native tribes? Or had they fallen prey to a darker, more sinister fate? The truth, it seemed, was as elusive as the settlers themselves. The tale of Roanoke serves as a chilling reminder of the perils of the New World, a testament to the courage and determination of those early settlers who dared to venture into the unknown. It's a story that has captivated historians and enthusiasts for centuries, a puzzle that has yet to be solved. Despite numerous searches and investigations, the fate of the Roanoke settlers remains one of history's enduring mysteries. Over the centuries, many theories have been proposed to explain the disappearance of the Roanoke colony, but none provide a definitive answer. The enigma persists, leaving us to ponder on the fate of these early settlers. One theory suggests that the colonists may have assimilated with local Native American tribes. It's plausible that the settlers, struggling with the harsh conditions and dwindling resources, sought help from the indigenous people. This theory is supported by reports of European features among some tribes in the subsequent years, suggesting a possible intermingling of the cultures. Another theory posits a darker fate, a massacre at the hands of either hostile tribes or Spanish invaders. The colony was, after all, established during a period of intense conflict and territorial disputes. However, the lack of any archaeological evidence supporting this theory makes it less likely. A third theory speculates that the settlers succumbed to disease. The New World was rife with unknown illnesses that could have easily decimated the unprepared colony. Yet again, there's no concrete archaeological evidence to back this up. Some believe that the settlers simply relocated. Facing starvation and potential conflict, they might have decided to abandon the settlement in search of a safer location. The cryptic message, CROATOAN, carved on a post at the abandoned site might indicate such a move. Recent archaeological discoveries have added a new dimension to these theories. Unearthed artifacts suggest a mingling of Native American and European cultures, hinting at possible assimilation. Yet, these findings are far from conclusive, and the question remains, what really happened to the Roanoke settlers? The mystery of the Roanoke colony serves as a stark reminder of the many unknowns that history holds, and the ceaseless quest for truth that defines our understanding of the past.